Hello there YouTube, it's Gojira Prime with another Transformers video review, and today we're going to be taking a look at Transformers Siege Galaxy Force Optimus Prime, or Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime, I think it's called, I keep forgetting. But basically it's a modern day interpretation of the original Optimus Prime figure from the Transformers Cybertron line, as it was known here in the West, or the Transformers Galaxy Force line, as it was originally known in Japan. Now, this is a figure I have kind of mixed feelings about. I like certain aspects of the figure, but other aspects of the figure I think are not particularly great. There is some issues with the construction of the kit, of the figure, sorry. Now, this particular one that I have here does include the DNA upgrade kit, which I have also issues with, particularly in regard to the legs and how well they go together. In regard to the little pins that are on the side of the legs, but I'll run through that in just a moment. The vehicle mode is a modern interpretation of the original Galaxy Force convoy, which was kind of like a fire truck, I think it was meant to be. So this is a kind of sci-fi futuristic fire truck. The one problem I do have with mine is I don't seem to be able to get mine to go flat on the ground very often. More often than not, when this thing is transformed, the back section here is lifted slightly up so the wheels will not roll. In fact, you can probably see here right now, the only wheel that is rolling is this wheel here. The other wheels are struggling to move, which isn't great. You do get these two large gun sections here, which when you lift up do expose the midsection here, which is completely exposed. You can see the robot head for the super robot mode there, which isn't particularly great, really. It'd be nice if that was hidden away. You also have this large open section here when you put the feet together, where you store the shoulder pads for the super robot mode. And again, it would have been nice if this was covered up somehow, to hide it away. Really, the vehicle mode for this figure, in my opinion, is the weakest link in the chain. It just doesn't feel or look as good as it could have done, really. At the end of the day, I think they could have done a much better job with this than what they have done. It's just an extra panel, a flip-up panel here, just to cover this section up would have been nice. Something to hide the robot head in here would have been nice as well. Or, why do you even need to have a secondary head when you put it in super robot mode? I mean, the vehicle mode's okay, don't get me wrong. The front is nicely detailed, with the blue translucent plastic and the white paint here and the nice painted headlights. But I just think that it could have been done a lot better than what it was. The fact that mine doesn't even line up properly at the back to roll properly is an annoyance, to say the least. And then there's also the difficulty of getting it into the vehicle mode as well. Just with getting everything lined up here on this slidey bit here, and then getting these pegs in here at the back, which don't really fit all the way nice and flush. I mean, it's just... It's not great for a vehicle mode. Don't get me wrong. I like having a reinterpretation of Cybertron Optimus Prime, but I just think they could have put more into this than what they did. At the end of the day, I do think it is pretty weak. The vehicle mode is the weakest link, really, ultimately, at the end of the day. So what I'll do now is I'll get him transformed into his core robot mode, and we'll take a look at that, and then I'll get him transformed into his super robot mode. Okay, so this is the core robot mode of Transformers Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime. Now, I have to admit, I do quite like the core robot mode for this figure. It looks very, very nice. You know, it's a nice Cybertronian version of Optimus Prime. In fact, I think the head sculpt on this guy is actually better in some ways than the head sculpt on the Earthrise Optimus Prime. If I just bring it in a bit close there, you can see the eyes on the Galaxy Optimus Prime far better than you can see him on the Earthrise. Sorry, yeah, the Earthrise Optimus Prime. So I do think that that's one advantage this figure has over his Earthrise counterpart. They're about the same height, roughly. So that's quite good. Now, the big issue I have here, and I'll say this because this is with the DNA kit that I have attached to this thing. These pegs are meant to go into these holes here on the legs. However, every time I transform this guy, these things just slide right off. The only solution I can think of really to solve this problem is to super glue, because this panel just comes off so easy. I mean, I've just literally pulled it off there. That's the big QC problem I have with the DNA upgrade kit. It's just that it comes apart so easily when you're using it. So that's a bit of a QC issue for me. I'll reattach those things later. But other than that, I do genuinely like the core robot mode. It's a nice robot mode for an Optimus Prime. You do have this section here at the back, which is actually mistransformed. And this is actually a quality control issue. Another one I actually have with this figure. This section here is loose as hell. It does come off periodically when I am transforming the figure, and I have to really fiddle with it in order to slide this whole thing off, reattach it, and re-screw it back in from the inside out. I literally have to take off this whole back piece here in order for it to work. I'll just see if I can get this. I've actually mistransformed this, so I'll just try and solve that problem. So there you go. That's actually meant to go all the way up there, like so, like that. And then what you do is you take these arm sections, or the front sections of the vehicle mode, and then attach them to here like this to store them away nice and neatly. I mean, that doesn't look too bad. It's a bit of a backpack, but it's not too bad at the end of the day. Now, in this mode, I quite like the figure. I do. It's a really nice core robot mode. I really like the head sculpt on the figure. I think it's really, really nice. And I like the whole general core robot itself. It looks really, really nice. You do have his gun accessory here. He does also come with, in the standard package, these large black guns, which you can detach from the feet. But they're a little too big, I think, really, for the core robot mode, so I just leave them attached. I don't use them personally when I have the figure out. So, just as a size comparison, that's the core robot there. Here he is next to Titans Returns Brawn. And here he is. I can straighten this guy out. Here he is next to Kingdom Optimus Primal. So Primal's a bit shorter than the core robot. And then here he is again next to Leader Class Jetfire from the Thrilling 30s line. This is meant to be about a Voyager size, by the way. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. So that's the core robot mode done. So what I'll do now is I will get him transformed, and we'll take a look at him in his super robot mode, which I do think is probably the best mode for this figure to have. Okay, so now we have Optimus Prime in his super robot mode. And for me, this is the mode that I have the figure pretty much permanently displayed on my shelf. I really do like the super robot mode. It's not perfect. There are a few niggling problems with it, but I, all in all, really do like it and like the way of how it looks. Now, as I said, this figure does have the DNA kit attached to it, which means it does have these extra, slightly larger thigh pieces here, which give the figure an extra centimeter or two in height. Basically, sorry, it's not these thigh extensions here. Basically, you can extend the legs to give it an extra centimeter or two in height, which makes it look a lot better on the shelf. One of the biggest complaints about this figure that I've read online is that when it is in the super robot mode, it looks too short, which is true, in all fairness. If you don't have this kit or something like it that adds an extra centimeter or two in height, it does look a little bit weird when it is in super robot mode. But all in all, I do think that this is the figure's strongest mode. The core robot's very nice on its own as well, but the vehicle mode is the weak link in the chain for this figure. Now, just to go around the figure, obviously you've got the back section of the trailer which forms the boots here. Now, this is my one complaint about the super robot mode, is that you can't have the figure just standing straight like that, really, because of how the feet are angled. The feet are at a permanent angle, so you have to have him in this kind of a stance if you're just having him standing straight on the shelf. Now, I suppose that's not really a major problem at the end of the day, but I would have preferred it if the feet were straight and then you could angle them how you wanted to angle them. The large guns, again, here on the sides, I just keep them there permanently. You've got the wing sections here from the trailer, and then obviously you have the two water cannons on the top. Well, I think they're meant to be water cannons anyway. There. The back kibble is not too bad, really, at the end of the day, since you can't really see most of this when you're looking at front. The whole trailer section basically forms this portion of the chest, and then everything you see here. Now, just to get up close to his face sculpt, or face sculpt, I should say, I really do like the face sculpt on this guy. I think it's very, very nice, very reminiscent of the original super robot mode from the original Transformers Cybertron series. You then got the extra shoulder pads here just to buff him out a bit more, each with an Autobot logo on them as well. So yeah, it's quite nice. Now, in regard to articulation for the guy, his super robot head, like his original head, his core robot head, is on a ball joint, so you can turn it all the way around. Bit of up movement, bit of down movement. The arms, they are a little bit restricted because of the wings, so you can tilt them back just a little bit, just to give you some more movement there. And he's got some movement at his elbows as well. Leg articulation, even though this has got the DNA kit on, and the DNA kit is a little bit stiff on mine, you can probably hear it ratcheting on the video. You got a full leg motion like that, and you have a knee motion as well. These feet do angle to give you a bit of additional posability, but like I say, I would have preferred it if they were just straight feet. And that is another problem with the DNA kit as well. It doesn't clip on very well. This happens a lot with mine. I don't know if it's something I've done to it. There we go. Or if it's just the kit in general, but that happens a lot as well sometimes. Just going back to the DNA kit, you do get some additional weapons with it. You get a hammer, which you can store in this gun emplacement section here. It's just a straight up silver hammer. It's very reminiscent to me of the hammer that was in Transformers Prime, the Forge of Solaris Prime. I get that kind of vibe from it. It's not bad. Could use a bit of paint, but it's not too bad. And then you also get in this one here a axe as well. It's a twin-bladed battle axe, which just folds out like that. Again, it's just silver plastic. Some nice molded details, but no real paint. And then obviously he has his gun, which comes as standard. Now, if I do have him with the weapons out, I tend to just take his gun and just store that in the back section here, like so. And then I just give him his axe and his hammer, like so. And there you go. They do look very nice. They suit the figure very well, I will say that much. But again, with the DNA kit, my one big complaint is these leg pins more than anything else. So again, just a few quick size comparisons. There he is next to Earthrise Optimus Prime again. Titans returns Brawn. Optimus Primal. And again with the thrilling 30s Jetfire. So is the figure worth getting if you can still get him? If you're a fan of Transformers Cybertron, I would say yes for the nostalgia value. Like I say, the Super Robot mode is the best mode for this guy. The Core Robot mode is the second, but the Vehicle mode does let it down in my opinion in some ways. I just think it could have been done a lot better. If you are going to get this guy, however, I would recommend getting some form of extender kit for the thighs. The DNA kit is all right, but I have issues with mine. I don't know if it's just a QC issue with my particular kit. I may try and find a different kit to swap it out with, but I would recommend if you can get an extender kit, get one, because it does make the robot mode, the Super Robot mode at least, look a hell of a lot better. So that's my very quick review and thoughts on Transformers Galaxy Upgrade Optimus Prime. I hope you liked the video. Please hit the like button, comment, and subscribe, and thank you very much.